Hey, hello everybody. How's it going? I'm Vespillo, and I hope you guys are having a lovely day. Alright, so today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I wanted to do a strategic talk. So talk about tactics, what I'm thinking, what I'm trying to do, point out some very obvious errors. I mean, they're very clear errors, and I messed up. But it's a good thing to see the errors, and that way if you see the same errors over and over again, you can realize how stupid you are and that you need to fix them immediately. So it's always good for you to do that sort of stuff. So in this game, pretty good game. I'm playing with Kablamo Man. Most of you guys may know him from Titanfall. And Calamity is just a random. We just had us two, and we were going to pick up a guy. So here, we had just finished wiping out a team. So unfortunately, my recording didn't capture that early part, and there's not much going on here. So kind of for the early game, we get a little surprised a couple of times, as you'll come to see. But anyway, I do want to talk about kind of battle royale strategy in general, because these are very big maps. Sitting and holding a position is obviously typically a big mistake with first-person shooter game in general. You want to stay moving as much as possible, because if you hunker down to take a fight, you know, it's a big map. People are going to hear it. They're going to come out of the woodwork. They may show up behind the other team, but a lot of times they may show up behind you if you're sat. So the idea is to engage into fights and get them over with as quickly as possible. You don't want to think of these engagements as, you know, like fighting another team or getting into battle and trying to kill the team. And obviously these guys just show up out of the zip line, so we kind of have to improvise. You know, one guy goes by, I assume there's going to be another one. So I've done some damage. I know my teammate's going to help me. I got to check and make sure I'm not about to get shot in the back by the other guy. And the other guy happens to be there. I was correct about my assumption, and I've basically got to win that 1v1 fight. So I take out my super high damage LMG, the Devotion, spray him down, destroy him, no problem. My teammates end up getting the first guy like I thought, because I'd done enough damage. You know, he wasn't going to win a 2v1, and everything's good. We win that fight. Those are probably the buddies of the Gibraltar that I had killed earlier. So anyway, like I was saying, you got to end these fights quickly, and you got to move on. So it's usually like the Scout. It's a really good gun, but it's usually doesn't end fights quickly, because you end up getting in these long range battles. They get knocked behind some cover that they're sitting behind. They res up, they hit med up, and then you start the battle all over again. So generally in battle royales, close range guns are going to be great. You know, they're going to be the things that you want. You definitely want a long range gun, because if you do end up getting into a long range fight, you know, if you don't have any way to fight long range, you're just going to lose, you're going to die. So having one long range, one short range is great. In this case, I kind of have two medium range guns, although the Devotion, as long as you got the ammo, is probably one of the best close range guns in the game. So although here I decide I'm just going to have some fun this game. I'm going to go a little crazy. I'm going to go Spitfire Devotion, double LMG, full Rambo mode. Again, I'm just kind of having fun. But just the general strategy of BRs, I like to have a long range and a short range. And if you see me playing something different, it's probably because I'm just goofing around. I'm trying to have some fun, maybe challenge myself a little bit. Because if you put yourself at a disadvantage and fight through it and practice that way and still end up getting your kills, you know, you're going to get better over time. And that's a good way to continually improve, is just to give yourself little mini challenges and help yourself. So I think I'm going to skip forward a little bit in this game so that we actually get into some action, and I can start showing you some of my terrible mistakes, because the mistakes come up before the good play. This might be guys rezzing. I think this is guys rezzing. I think right good. Okay, so the first thing, obviously I hear the dropship coming in, and then I think there's guys rezzing, and then I see the dropship for sure. I know there's a team up here that's probably rezzing, and then I got a gunfight over here. I just pinged it. I can just hear it. I can't see anybody, but a lot of times I will ping gunfire just to make sure that my team knows, hey, there's enemies close. And I'd rather them, you know, think falsely that, oh, there might be an enemy really close, then like lollygag back there, try to loot, do some stuff like that. So I do that. So in this one, obviously we have high ground. Attacking from high ground is the easiest thing in the world. You get to choose how to engage. You get to choose when to fight, and they have no choices. They basically have to hope they just destroy. Now I'm going to freeze this moment here, because if you guys didn't notice just now, this is a big old tactical mistake. So I'm going to play this back at half speed and kind of just talk about this engagement for a second. Because like I said, it's very important to understand our mistakes. Here, obviously, kill the guy, no problem. Easy because we're high ground, he's low ground, he has 0 cover. And even if he did have cover, if I did sufficient damage, I drop on his head, finish him off. Now, at this moment, my teammate, Kablamo, he's calling out that there's guys further down. So that's what I'm looking for, but I'm also making sure that I'm in good cover. And my first thought is immediately to hit their flanks, to get around this artillery and to push them from another direction. So I thought they were way up there to the right, kind of right in front of my teammate. And as it turns out, they are right here. Now I've frozen this screenshot because there's 2 guys here. Unfortunately for me, I did not see the left guy. He had a little bit of a darker camouflage. The guy on the right was lighter, and so I only saw him. Now, had I seen the guy on the left, I would have gone for him, probably would have won that gunfight. But here, I get knocked down because I did not see that guy on the left. It would have been fine to push him, although overall in this situation, it's probably better to just say, I was too aggressive. As soon as I got to that cliff, I should have stayed there. I would have been at the high ground again, and again, I would have been able to dictate the fight. I would have been able to do some damage, and then if I had done enough damage, I would have pushed. If I didn't do enough damage, I would have backed off and healed. I would have had options. I would have been able to, you know, basically choose what I wanted to do next. So luckily, Kablamo ends up finishing both of them. You know, the first guy on the right that I messed up, he just one-shots him with the Peacekeeper and then is able to win the fight with the Gibraltar that was sitting on the left there, luckily for me. So we keep going, we get to keep playing. But the other thing that I did want to talk about is my initial instinct to move around, I guess, the left side, move around the artillery, use the artillery for cover to push up. All of that's good. All of that is necessary in a battle royale. We finished this gunfight, and you can still see we're moving up this hill, and I'm even pinging it because there's gunfire coming from there. There's a whole nother fight. That fight has been going on since before the fight that we just got in started. So that's bad. That means people are not being aggressive enough, and that means we now get to come in here and third party. We've cleared out the area. We know our backs are safe, and we're going to come in here and get into another fight. Now, unfortunately, this is a different type of fight. You can see I'm still trying to push up, still trying to be aggressive. These are good plays in general, but we're in a very tight, very choked off point. So I'm taking a lot more damage because of it. Here, I actually need to play slower, and again, I just slide in. Sure, I get the 1 kill, and I'm being aggressive, and I'm trying to end these fights as fast as possible, but I'm still being a little over-aggressive. Right there, he literally just detonated himself with his own artillery. Now, these other guys that they've been fighting with forever, now they're going to third-party us. And you can see there's a whole nother squad. I'm just hoping that our third guy, our random, holds him off long enough for me to get up. And here, I'm done being aggressive. I'm going to heal. I'm going to get full. I'm going to figure out what's going on before I jump into the fight. I've been punished twice in a row, and twice in a row my team has saved me, or in this case, the other team saved me by artillerying himself in the goddamn head. I got super lucky there. So now I'm ready to go in again, and this time it's just pure, you just got to shoot them down. You can't really be super aggressive, and as you can see, I'm going fairly slowly. My teammates got the flank. That means I want to sit in the back, and I want to chill, and I want to do the anchor stuff. I'm going to shoot long distance. I'm going to let those guys push up. And it's my teammate's turn to be the aggressive one because he's actually got the position that he can flank from. And that flank, You know, he got in there, he knocked the guy. Perfect. I stayed in the back. I waited. Because my teammate that had flanked was super high up, you saw that guy coming in. He heard all the action coming from the guy in the front, the guy that had been aggressive, the guy that had pushed up. So he was looking for him. And that means I got to hear him through the smoke while I was being slow, careful. I finish him off, last guy on the squad, get my buddies up. And now we've quickly finished this battle. We're just looting, and we've got all the loot in the world. We've got all the loot in the world. We've got all the time in the world. We can do whatever we want. There's pretty much only 4 squads. We knew going into it we had wiped the team at our backs, and we were more or less coming from the circle. So the likelihood that we got flanked is very low. We can take our time. We can check all these. I want my energy ammo because I want to keep using my devotion and having some fun. So that's kind of what happens. And I was going to make another point, but the next fight coming up will help me illustrate that point really well. So I'm going to fast forward to that, and I'll see you guys there. All right, so real quick before we get into the fight, Calamity here has gotten an unfortunate bug. Some of you probably have seen this, where basically if you're medding while you get knocked, you'll end up walking at the medding speed all the time. You can't run, you can't go faster. And it sucks. The only way to get rid of it is to literally be completely dead, have your teammate recover your banner, and get spawned back in. Now, the reason I ran back up those stairs that I just went down is, as you can see here, there's a team up here. My teammate called it out, and I'm coming back up. Now, I don't like this position at all. We got one teammate bugged out, and we're both kind of in a bad position. Now, they shot at me through the smoke, which means I feel like they probably have some kind of threat detector. So I'm trying to tell everybody we need to back up. Kablamo's running forward. I'm like, no, I'm panicking. I'm like, yo, we got to get out of here. This is a bad fight for us. They've kind of got some of the high ground. We don't have any good cover to push them. That means we can't get flanks off. We can't do what we need to do in order to get a good kill. That means retreat. And sometimes that's the best course of action. In this case, it definitely is. Now, the only problem is I do not want to leave my buddy behind. He's got the bug. He just gets knocked. I'm like, oh, shit. I don't just want to leave this guy. Even though he's a random, I want to get this guy the win. We've done well so far. We got 4 squads left. So I'm just kind of holding this position. I'm more or less, I know I need to retreat, but I want to save our buddy, and I want to get the bug off of him. So I'm kind of hoping that these guys make a mistake when they push us. So I'm going to keep poking. I'm going to let them push. I'm going to see what happens, and boom, we get a knock. That's super good for us. And as soon as we get that knock, I'm in an aggressive mode. We need to end this fight immediately. Now, I heard this guy. I called right on top of me. My mouse wigged out a little bit. I don't know what the hell that was, but luckily, my teammate saved me. I fired a little too many shots and ran out of bullets. And again, flank, flank, flank. Always flank. 2v1, team shots every single time. My motto basically is, if I can't see my enemy that I'm shooting at, I need to literally be sprinting at him 100% of the time, full speed sprinting at him. Because if he's behind some cover and he's looking at me, okay, then maybe don't sprint at him all the time. But if my teammate's in a gunfight and I can't see that guy, I'm going to be running full speed. And luckily, we wipe that team. We get the flank. It's 2v1. That guy has no chance. We get to res on our buddy, and we get to go on. So I'm learning my lesson from being too aggressive earlier. I'm not just rushing at teams, and I'm making sure that at least teams are even before we get the good rush on. And luckily, those guys had, for some reason, they pushed that low ground, and they actually let themselves get low ground on us, which is a huge error on them. Neither of us could have pushed very well. They kind of had to come to the circle, but they could have gone to their left, our right, and they could have gone around that mountain and just gone in the circle and not taken a bad fight. Instead, for some reason, I guess they felt confident. They felt like they could take us out, and they decided to go ahead and just push us at a very bad time for them. And we ended up punishing them for it quite severely. with just shooting from good cover, from them not being in the correct cover and pushing us from low ground. It's just a lot of mistakes. They compounded a lot of their mistakes. So anyway, here I see right in front of me that big blue beam means a care package. I think, hey, there's probably a team on top of it. Let's at least go push up, check. There's a good chance there's teams around it. As you can see from my mini map up in the top left corner, the last circle is in swamps. So there's a good chance here that we have high ground. So I definitely want to push up. I want to take, a good position in the circle. And if we have to drop down, we can. But I want to stay up on this top high ground for as long as possible. So we're going to push up this care package. Nobody's here. So I might as well take a look and see what we got. And best care package in the world, baby. Get that Kraber. So here I'm super conflicted, because I love my devotion. It served me well, but right now the end game, the Spitfire is going to be more reliable. We're generally going to be at longer ranges sitting up on this high ground. So the devotion, I think, is the right choice to go ahead and drop. And then from here, you can see a couple pings on my screen. Kablamo saw some guys over here. We're trying to find them, and they ended up running off into low ground, which again, you'll see is a mistake on their part. They shouldn't be running off the low ground. You should always, 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 if you can, take the high ground. And this guy, I don't completely want to give my position away, but he's just made it so easy. And then there's a guy behind us, again, with a Kraber. All I want him to do is peek me and come take a look. So he's finally shooting at me again. Boom. Hit that big old hundo. Obviously a little disappointed. I wanted that, that big old headshot, but for some reason he peaks again. I don't understand players. I mean, if somebody's got a Kraber, they hit you once, they're probably going to hit you again. You need to get in the cover and med. This guy, maybe he's new. Maybe he is the best shot in the world and he was super confident. But we can't find his teammates, and the teammates surprise us. Boom, squad wipe. These guys are done. That's just when we're pushing a building, you want to push it as together as possible. Now we know this is the last team. And again, we just want to hold that high ground. We want to hold that high ground for as long as possible. And if it's in the circle, all the better. I never want to leave that high ground until we have such a huge advantage. It is not even funny, because that high ground, again, you dictate the pace of the fight. You get to choose. Do I drop down now? Well, how much damage have I inflicted on them? If the answer is I've inflicted a ton of damage, I could not lose this fight unless my mouse battery died or came unplugged and I literally had no control over my character. That is the only possible way I could lose that fight. I've inflicted so much damage. So again, we're just waiting for these guys to come out. They came out, and again, not leaving that high ground. Rain down arc stars of death all day. I saw that Bloodhound peek me. I'm hoping he peeks again, because whack, headshot, boom, down. And then his buddy runs behind him. Boom, hit him again. Now that's enough damage. I see that. I'm like, yes, damage, done. And then there's this guy hiding like a little rat in the corner. Almost had me. Teammates is on top of me. Teammates are on top of me because I called out that I'm going in. Now here, I should shield up, but boom, knock the guy. Last guy left. 3 of us. That's the easiest push in the world. I shouldn't even be shooting at that stuff, because we should be going in. Again, I've been too overconfident in the past. So again, I'm not pushing too hard. And at this point, it just doesn't even matter. You know where he is. Easy win of the game. No problem. So again, high ground allows you to dictate pace of the game. If you're attacking a team, you want to end that as quickly as possible. The best way to end a fight quickly as possible is to have probably 2 of your guys together and, holding a certain spot, and have one guy flank. If the guy flanking gets some kind of static, gets pushed, gets shot at, that flanker needs to back off immediately, rejoin his team. Once he's rejoined his team, he's got options at that point. And then you can be together, you can heal up, you can do what you need to do. Let me find some random footage so you guys aren't just watching a black screen. Okay, so in this clip, we pull off a nice flank, and we see the team. You see my spot go out. this is the most important thing right here.
Sniper, move.
I'm gonna see if I can come up behind him. Are you pressuring?
Yeah. So right there, you heard Velo ask, first of all, state, I'm going to see if I can come up behind them, and then ask, are you guys pressuring? And that obviously means, are you in a situation that if this flank goes bad, that you can help me, that you can soften them up, that you can do what you need to do. So I say yes. Triss says yes. So we both confirm that, yeah, this is a good flank. Hit it. You can see Velo's already got 2 down. We got the other one here, and we just light him up because he has nothing that he can even do. He's just got to run away. So team communication in a flank is super important. Now, if Velo got pushed hard there and we couldn't pressure, he would need to back up immediately. So it's very important that you have some coordination from your squad, that you know that your squad's got your back. They're going to be able to help you out. They're going to keep pressuring, keep poking. They're going to soften up those targets. They're not just going to let them sit there. They're not going to sit in the back. They're not healing. They're not weak. You know, they're not in some bad situation they need to back up from. And that's really the most important thing, is that on basically a flank can only be done if your team is in that advantageous position. If your team's getting slaughtered in the back, that's no time to try to pull off some glorious flank where you're going to 3v1 the whole team. It's really a way to get multiple angles, to get multiple shots all on the same targets, to make sure that those shots are going to go down, and that, you know, those players have that pressure on them that they can't get into cover. You saw in that last push with Velo coming in behind them, they had no cover. Every way they went, somebody was going to be able to shoot at them. And that's when your flank is pretty much unbeatable. The only way they could have beat him is as soon as they saw Velo coming from the back, is if all 3 literally turned, ran, shoved Velo in, and just immediately eliminated him. Now, a smart team will do that, so you have to be super careful. That's why I say you have to back up. But it can be a very difficult situation to play from, because you get surprised, you get freaked out, you're trying to shoot multiple targets, and then, you know, a lot of times it just goes bad. So let me know if you guys have any questions, or if you like this type of video, want more like that. Either way, let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you very much, and enjoy.